Hey everybody, Neil Thompson from Teach the Geek here. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. I was thinking about feedback and getting feedback after a technical presentation. What kind of questions you could ask an audience member on how you could get better at giving a presentation. You certainly could ask them open-ended questions, but if you were to ask them a question that had more of a maybe a scale to it, I think people would be more likely to answer as opposed to having to give words as their answer. Certainly they can give words, but if it was just on a scale perhaps of 1 to 5, I think more people would be willing to participate and give you that feedback. What are the questions you could ask that person? The first one is and this all has to do with technical presentations. Number one, was the presentation understandable to you on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being not at all, 5 being absolutely, and of course, 2, 3, and 4 in between. Basically, were they able to comprehend what you were talking about? Did you use a whole lot of technical jargon that perhaps they couldn't understand? Was the speech structured in such a way that it was easy to follow? Basically, by the end of the presentation, did they take away what you wanted them to take away from the presentation? Or really, what did they take away from the presentation? But basically, was it understandable? That's number one. Number two, was the presentation actionable? I often talk about the importance of including a call to action in a presentation. What do you want people to do afterwards? So basically, when you're asking, was it actionable? I'm asking whether the call to action was clear. Do you know what you need? Does the audience member know what they need to do after the presentation? So that's number two. And then number three, was it relevant? I mentioned the call to action. The main reason I'm a big fan of developing that call to action and working backwards to determine the rest of the presentation is that it eliminates a whole lot of fluff that perhaps you would have put into the presentation. So when you ask the question, was it relevant? What I'm basically asking is, was there a whole lot of fluff that could have been avoided? Everything that was in the presentation, did it make sense for it to be there? Is essentially what I'm asking with that question. So those are basically the three questions that I thought of that could be of interest to you as the presenter, asking people in the audience. And assigning each question a scale of 1 to 5, I think would make it more likely that people actually take the survey or answer your questions. So number one, again, was the presentation understandable? Number two, was the presentation actionable? And number three, was the presentation relevant? Hopefully that's been helpful. Again, my name is Neil Thompson. I am the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Until next time, take care and stay safe.